I'm just throwing this in here. We are starting pre-hurricane. I'm going to be putting out a few videos that will get us up to today. Thank you. Bye.
Hello, and welcome back, my diamond painting pals. This is Allison Rosen, and today we're gonna do another drill with me. I actually just recorded a video last night and decided to just turn it on again now because I'm sitting here doing some diamond painting, and it's been a long time since I've put up a video. I didn't even get last night's put up today, which is kind of unlike me, but yeah. So I wanted to have a few in the can. That's the lingo, in case you were wondering how professional videographers do it. We say we've got some in the can. I don't know why we have potty talk, but they're in the can. Today was a weird day. You want to know why? I could not wake up. Like I said, my husband is out of town now. He left yesterday. On the last video is what I told you. And usually when he's here, I will stay up pretty late, but I know I'm gonna get like the "can't believe you stayed up so late, it's not good for you" talk. So, I try to keep it reasonable. Everything in one person's version of reasonable may not be another's. So, but last night I was up till, I don't know, 5 a.m., if that you can still call that night. And so today, I could not stay awake. Oh my goodness. I woke up, I took a little nap on the couch. I woke up, I took a little nap in my bed with the kids. I woke up, and that time I stayed up. But by the time I got going for the day, it was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So yeah, that's not good. But don't worry, my babies were not neglected. They were fine. Everyone had lunch. Everyone had dinner. I took them out for dinner. We went to our favorite sandwich place that we don't usually get to go to because we three are the only fans in the family of that place. So we went there, and then afterwards we went to the Dollar Tree because I ran out of parchment paper. And the reason I ran out of parchment paper is because I had even more paintings show up today. So at least today's were only like 45 by 50 only. Yeah, I am working on doing a video showing you all of the ones that I have in my queue, but I'm doing it like, I'll do it. Tell me, leave me a comment. Tell me if this is okay. What I would like to do is just to show you pictures of it. So like I'll insert pictures of what I'm working on and, talk over them basically, and just tell you what I like about them. Tell you like how the canvas showed up if I remember, and stuff like that. Instead of pointing the camera at something like this where you can't really see, yeah, I want you to be able to like actually see what I'm talking about. So yeah, I'm gonna do it that way. I'm just gonna have like a photo session kind of thing. I have all the pictures like saved to my computer because I take a little Snagit of them. It's a software, Snagit or Snippet or Take It. So I have that. So I do have pictures of all of them that I've purchased, just so because I forget which ones I've already bought. Does that happen to you? Because a lot of the ones that I like are very similar in style to others. Where is mine? There we go. See what I was looking for? I was looking for my little card that I use for my tip video, that I just squeeze this up a little bit. So I squeeze it up, and you see the end is kind of, you can't see anything, whatever. but the end is kind of pulling away from it. So now I unsqueeze it, get my card, and I push down on one of those diamonds until it goes back in. Now it's back in, and away we go. That's it. That's it. That's all. So I did get some more parchment paper, and then we came home. I unboxed the diamond paintings that came today. I still have to do the inventory, but I think I'm gonna leave that. Oh, do I want to do that next with you, or do I want to continue doing this? I'm gonna continue doing this. It's easier. It's all set up. Yeah. So I've been making some good progress on this. Gosh, it took me so long to do that 1.5-foot section last night. I kind of regretted opening that much of it, I gotta tell you. So now you'll see I'm back down to like a reasonable amount. This was in 2 parts, and every once in a while I just gotta go in and snap them into place. But so far, yep, really loving this canvas. Everything actually fits on it. I'm not struggling with it at all. Very pleased with it. This is a little bit, okay. What else? Yeah, so the kids are fast asleep. It is 12:20. I was watching a video of Wendy putting some pins on her map. And anyone else that put a pin on, or put a comment to have a pin on her map, gone off my meds, Wendy. If anyone else put a comment in, do you watch those videos just praying that she says your name next and reads your bio? Because that's what I do the whole time. I'm like, so do me, do me, do me. Where's me? No, don't do London, don't do France. Do me. If you saw her latest video, then you'll see where that came from. But it's okay. I like hearing about other folks and what they're up to too, but you know, do me. Just wondering if it's just me that thinks that, or if I'm the only self-centered person in this little community here, because, you know. Okay, what else? Let's see. I used to hate when this guy I was dating, very loose term, would say, what else? And I'd be like, what do you mean, what else? Nothing. There's nothing else. That's it. Goodbye. Yeah, anytime there was a pause in the conversation. What else? What else? So, unfortunately, I picked up that bad habit, I suppose. Ha 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 ha. Let me think. What else? Shit. It's my I have to stop saying that. It bothers me physically when I do it. I do have some tag questions next to me. And okay, so you want the honest truth? I already did that video, but I'm not going to upload it. And the reason why is I think I just kind of overshared. Like, I'm pretty open. You know, I have very few things that I won't just be like, yeah, whatevs, here you go, here's the deets. But there was just some stuff in there that, like, I wasn't so proud of, I guess you could say. And it is from a very long time ago in my history. And it has nothing to do with who I am today. It's just like a poor reflection. And I just didn't, yeah. It didn't come out right. It came out like I'm, you know, yeah, not a good person, but I am, I swear, even though I only want Wendy to talk about me, I'm still, you know, decent human being. So yeah, I'm not going to upload that one. I'm still going to do the same tags, and I'm probably going to say the same stories. Like, you're not going to miss out on anything. I just didn't like the way it was delivered at all. I listened back to it a couple of times and I was like, I don't know. And then I thought, you know what? It's my my channel. If I don't want to put it up, I don't have to. No one knows I recorded it, except now you know because I'm telling you. Yeah, so that's where that is. Oh, it's going to be so nice when it's done. Okay, so let's do question number 1. The best gift you ever received. So this got me thinking because I can't really remember. I mean, I'm sure I got good gifts as a kid, you know. One year for Hanukkah, my parents gave my sister and I our own telephone line because they were so tired of ours, like keeping theirs tied up because it was way before the days of call waiting. Yeah. So, and then when call waiting came out, my dad wouldn't get it because it was like an extra $3 a month, and he said no, he didn't want to pay it. So one day, oh, here you go. This could be in one of those other stories. But one day I got so tired of it, I ordered it myself and gave my dad, I don't know, $20 and said, here for 6 months worth. And he's like, that's not the point. I don't want the bill to go up. Anyways, he was not pleased by that at all. It was shortly thereafter canceled again. Yeah. When you grow up and get your own house, you can get whatever you want on your telephone line. And now it's just like free standard, right? Everyone has call waiting. You don't even have to ask for it. And when my parents did get it for free, it took my mom 3 years to stop hanging up on me when another call came in. Yeah. And she was like, oh, I did that again, didn't I? Yep. Well, what button do I press? Flash. It's called flash. Is it this one? Click. Yeah. So, my mom's super cute, but tech savvy, she is not. Not. So, okay, Wendy, you and I, now we're going to be counting so's. The best gift I ever received that I can, that like, something like I've never forgotten, wasn't actually like a gift per se, but it was a total, I'll just tell you what it was. So one of my buddies showed up, a good friend of mine, she showed up at my house to go out for the evening. I think we were going for dinner and then out with friends or something. And her car was decorated like a surprise party. So there was like balloons and streamers hanging from all over, and outside on the side of the car she like printed "Happy Birthday, Allison" with like, paint that came off, and it was so nice. It was so like, can you imagine someone doing that for you? Like, you go outside and there's like a surprise car. It was great. So yeah, more than anything else that she could have purchased that I probably would have forgotten by now, I will never forget that. And I'm gonna cut this because it's in my way. I don't like. So just snip, snippy snip, snippy dip. Any other great gifts that I can think of? The stuff my daughter makes me is freaking awesome. She's pretty talented and she goes all out for any occasion. She goes all out. She just makes and makes and looks up on YouTube for different tutorials for this card and that card and pop-out cards and flashcards and surprise boxes, and yeah, it's adorable and I love it. And she once wrote me this letter that was like heartbreaking because it was so sweet. Just like, Mommy, it's your birthday and I hope you just have the most special day because you're the best mom that I ever could have asked for, and we just love you so much. And yeah, so that was a really good gift too. Other than that, but that again wasn't something that she went out and bought. She made me all like the little things, and she still does. I love my coupons that she gives me because I really cash them in. A lot of them are like, I'll play in the basement with you. I'm like, here's the coupon, come on downstairs and play. So, yeah. The time you tricked a sibling. Oh, I already took out a new one. I already did that one. Okay, we're going to work on the letter O. This is brought to you by the letter O. Tricked her. Well, okay, so I have one sister. She's 3 years older than me, which means, yeah, she's the big 5-0. Ha 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 ha. And I am not yet. Anyways, she also has a 7-year-old son. She's a single mom. She was dating the dad. They broke up. She realized that she was pregnant and wanted to have the baby. She said, "You know what? I'm not young. If I'm going to have a baby, this might be it. I've always wanted a baby and I'm keeping it." They did get back together for a very short period, but they were like, yeah, we broke up for a reason. This is stupid. And so he's like, he's around. He's still dad, but she is doing all of the work. So she's just like kind of superwoman. And they always she always sends me these pictures of them like downtown at Place des Arts, going to the jazz festival, going to the Just for Laughs festival. Oh, we went to do this today. We went to do that today. And so she's constantly sending me, my parents, my family pictures of what she and Jack are doing. And I get well, why aren't you sending pictures? I'm like, you want another picture of my kids sitting in the living room watching TV? Like, we don't do anything. Like, seriously, what am I supposed to send you? So, yeah, so she kind of shows me up in that arena, but, yeah, but I think, yeah, she's a good mom. And so, we've always gotten along very well, except for, when we were little. Oh, and the worst thing that she did to me, she realized one day that my name, Allison, spelt backwards, Nozzla. Yeah, take that in. Nozzla. My last name is Rosen, so put them together and you've got Nozzlinizor. Oh, still, I went to Montreal and she was like, Nozzla! It's just the worst. I mean, what a terrible nickname that only she ever did. Like, it's not a nickname, don't start calling me that, but it was just like her little secret name for me. Oh my god, I just got the nicest comment. Okay, you guys leave me the nicest comments. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I know I mentioned this on the last video, but yeah, I mean every video. Just the nicest things, and I love it. It makes me feel so good. So thank you for that. Everybody, every single person, even if you only comment in your head, I get the vibe. I hear you. Doesn't matter. You don't have to comment, literally. But when you're listening and you say, oh, that Allison, she gets me. Well, yes, I do, and I hear your thoughts. I do get you. And I got your comment, so thank you so much. I didn't come up with that on my own. I took it from a friend, but it's still true. She used to say, even if you comment in your head, that's really nice, and I appreciate it. So I think it holds true, and so even if you comment in your head, I appreciate it. But yeah, come on by and leave a comment anyway. Okay. So, I'd rather say The thing my sister and I would do, getting back to surprises or tricks, what we would do all the time is we would tell each other, oh my god, I found the most perfect thing for you today. I'm going to show it to you. Hang on, it's just in my pocket. And we take our hand in our, put our hands in our pocket and pull it out and just give each other the finger. Yeah. We still do that because we're really mature. And taught Sarah that, so we have a lot of fun with it too, because I'm a real, I'm a very strict mom. She can't know those things. Yeah, so we still do that, and sometimes we still get each other. That's the sad part. Like, we still fall for it. So sad. Then one more sister story. along those veins, those lines. My parents, when I moved home for the last time before I moved out for the final time, say that 10 times fast, were very pleased with me at that point in my life because I had actually turned it all around, was back in school, gonna be something, working really hard. And I needed to go home because I couldn't afford the rent and and have time to study. Like, I couldn't work full time anymore and have time for class and studying and everything. And they totally understood, and they said, "You want to move home? Come on home." And they had an unfinished basement. And I was like, "Oh, that's fine with me. I'd rather be in the basement where I'm not so, like, obtrusive, like, oh, instead of all of us up on the same floor. And then when I got home at night, like, I'd wake them up or they'd hear, it just was a little, not close for comfort, but it was just easier if I was just tucked away. So I would sleep in the basement. Eventually they'd totally refinish it for me, and now it's, like, really nice. And they are so super awesome parents. But in the basement, it's pitch black. Like, after an hour, you still can't see your hand in front of your face. It's total blackness. There's no windows at all in that section of the basement that was my bedroom. And the only section that has windows is, like, the furnace room, and the door is always closed. So it's very, very dark down there. So when I come up in the morning, I would be, like, totally, like, bleary-eyed and can barely see, like a little mole coming out of the ground. And I'd just be, like, thinking in my head, coffee. And my sister would stay over every once in a while. She'd come over and she'd just crash there. And she takes Kung Fu. She still takes Kung Fu. She's very good at it. But she was just starting at that point. And she's like, "Watch my Kung Fu moves." And I was like, "Hey, don't. And she went to do, like, this special punch thing. And she's like, "I'm not going to hit you." She hit me square in the forehead with a closed fist, like a pow. I just started to cry and went back downstairs. I just was like, yeah, that's my impression of me crying as 22-year-old me. No, I was older. I was like 26-year-old me. Yeah, I just went back downstairs because she punched me right in the face. Right in the bleary face. She felt very badly, as she should. But yeah, I don't know if that's a trick or just me telling you a story of when my sister was super mean and bad. Because I'm the favorite. No. Okay, I don't know how my mother's done this all these years. Because I don't have a favorite child. But any child that says to me, "Am I your favorite?" I'm always like, "Yep, you are. I love you. You're my favorite, my favorite, my favorite." Then the other kid comes along. "Oh, you're my favorite. You're my favorite. You're my favorite." And my mom never does that. She never fell for it. She always said, "Trying to pick one of you is like trying to pick an arm. I need both of them." And I'm like, "Yeah, but we're both lefties, so really it's me, right?" And we said for years and years and years, "No, I'm the favorite. No, I'm the favorite." I would name my computer the favorite. My number, I would program in my parents' telephone the favorite. So when it rang, it would say, "The favorite is calling." Because we're mature. But I don't know. I was telling my mom the other day, like, "How have you kept this up all these years?" She's like, "Because I really don't have a favorite." I was like, all right. I guess you've got me there. She's like, "Although your sister was firstborn." I'm like, "Hey." She's like, "But you're the baby." That's right, I am. So, yeah. Props to them. Yeah, I screw up all the time. I'm like, "You're my favorite little girl." "Oh, you're my favorite little boy." And I'm so glad I have a boy and a girl because I can just say that instead of getting caught when one of the other one walks in the room and says, "Wait, you told me I was your favorite." No, you're both my favorite. Yeah. So, fuck. What would you prefer if I said so or fuck? Excuse my language. So we've next a time confrontation with a teacher. Okay, how long do we have? You might have picked up on perhaps a personality trait of mine, which is that I'm kind of snarky. I'm a little snarky. And sometimes teachers don't like that in a student so much. And I had this one teacher when I was first grade. Her name was Miss Miles. And she was so tall, I thought that's why her name was Miss Miles. Because she was miles tall. And we had to color this picture. And I went outside of the lines. And I knew we were not supposed to go outside of the lines. So I took my big black crayon and I made new lines. And she came by and looked at my desk and looked at my work and said, "Allison, what have you done there?" And I gave her a look that apparently, if looks could kill. So yeah, I had a little talking to. That was the first of the confrontations. I had another confrontation when I had gone back to school. I was taking linear algebra. And I'm really good at math, but I could not understand what this woman was talking about. She would just like have her back to the room and just write stuff on the board and babble things off, and no one ever knew what she was talking about. And then she would just move on to the next part, never ask if we understood anything. And I knew like not to be immodest or anything, but I really knew that if I didn't get it, no one got it. So at one point I just got so fed up, and she turned around for a second and I had my hand raised like that whole time, and she said, "Yes, Allison?" And I said, "I'm really sorry, but we don't know what you're talking about. Can you please go back and go over this because we're completely lost?" And she said, "Young lady, do you intend on passing this class?" And I said, oh, I'm going to pass this class. But whether I teach it to myself or you teach it to me remains to be seen. And she was like, "Stay after class." And I was like, oh. So I did. I stayed after class. And of course I realized the error of my way. But I was just so angry, you know. And then she actually came up to me after class and said, "What can I do to make it better?" I was like, oh my God. Wow. No. I mean, did you expect that? Because I did not expect that. So then I gave her good props because she actually really tried. After that, she was like, I said, "Just slow down and look at us and see if anyone is nodding along or if we're just staring at you with blank looks on our faces." And I said, "And then you'll just be a much better teacher because you'll know where everybody is." And she said, "Okay, thank you for that input." And then that was it. She was a lot better after that. I did pass that class. I did very well in that class. See, here's M's. M's. What? That doesn't mean anything to you. These are 402s. And they're quite different from each other, aren't they? And I know for some of you, you're getting hives. Are you getting hives? It's okay, though. It's going to be okay. We're just going to use them as if they're the same. Because this part is sand. And sand, not every grain of sand is the same color, is it? Oh. And I'm going to put a different shade down. Ooh, right over here. And another different one right next to it. Oh my God, what is she doing? Yeah, see, I just think it looks good. And I'm not going to worry about it. Because there's a whole bunch of that shade in here with or without this particular number of DMC. So it's just more shading. Like I said, you make your choice. In the last video I was talking about this, and I said you make your choice of whether or not it matters to you depending on how many shades of that color already exists in your painting. And that's the way I think it would make sense to blend or not to blend the two shades. So that is why I don't mind. When I would make quilts, I would look for a lot of shades of the same colors because it just adds more depth and interest to your quilt, and you could use it more as like a design element, and it wasn't as flat. And the same holds for diamond painting. The more shades and colors you have, the more interesting the painting will be, the more depth it will have. Yeah, I mean, when I get a big painting, there's a lot more colors included in the kit because it can have more detail, as we all know, but the detail comes from the colors and the way that they're lined up next to each other. But that's because, you know, the more colors, the better the detail. So why not mix them up? Have a party. Let your diamonds have a party. Show them that they truly are your best friend, and you're going to give them a party with a little surprise balloon in the car, because that's what friends do. Do you prefer the so, the what, now what, or the la 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 la? I am doing M. Okay, I got lost for a second. Another confrontation with a teacher. Let me think. Oh, there were so many. There was just all the times I told them off. I had a big mouth, very big mouth. My mom would get a lot of phone calls. So this one time, I couldn't read. So this was like early on, first grade, I think. Second grade. And I just wasn't reading as well as the rest of the class. So they put me in the special reading class, and I really loved that teacher. I had no idea it was in remedial reading. I just loved that teacher. And so she taught us to read. And then I knew how to read, and I was keeping up with the rest of the class, and I didn't need the extra help anymore. So the next time that she came, and she would come to the class and collect us, you know, like, oh, I'll take, you know, Bobby, Joe, and Allison, and Marie, and whoever. And this one time she came, and I went right up to I was so happy, and she said, oh, no, Allison, you're not going to be coming with us anymore. Don't worry, we'll call your mother about it. And I panicked, and I said, you can't call my mother. And I said, oh, why? She had a heart attack. Oh my. Oh no. Okay, well we'll be sure not to bother her. Okay, good, because you know she's very sick. I go back to my desk and I'm very upset about the whole thing. And why did I put that down? I don't have a cue. Odd. I'm an odd bird sometimes. So I went back to my desk, and you know, life continues. And then I think the next week I get the chicken pox. So I'm home. And my mom calls the school to see if there's any homework she should come get. Because, you know, the chicken pox, like, you just can't go anywhere, but you're not sick. So, or I wasn't anyways. I don't know how it affects everybody. And my mom was saying, and I heard her on the phone, and I kind of started, like, sneaking out of the room, like kind of limping out, you know, kind of knew it was coming. And she kept saying, I don't understand, why don't I need to worry about it? Oh, you're not covering? Oh, okay. And then finally she said, excuse me, am I sick? And I said, well, Mrs. Rosen, you've had a heart attack. She was like, pardon me? She looked at me, she's like, Allie, do you know anything about this heart attack? Yeah. So I had come up with this story about the heart attack because apparently my bus driver had a heart attack and he couldn't come get us anymore. We had a new bus driver, and that was the reason. So I didn't know what a heart attack was. I just knew that he wasn't coming anymore. and he couldn't be contacted. And so, you can't contact my mother because she's had a heart attack. And they were wondering, like, how could she have had a heart attack? She's like in her, gosh, how old was she? Was not even 30. So, wow, she's very sick. Yeah. That was a good time. We still laugh about that one. Oh, you can't call my mother. She's had a heart attack. Thank goodness she's never had a heart attack. Hang on while I knock on wood. Oh, that reminds me of a story. I think I already told you the story about the time Jared and I were yelling at Sarah to knock on wood because we said something that we needed her to knock on wood about, and she wouldn't. She was just like, "What? I don't get it." And we were yelling at her, "Knock on wood, knock." Finally, she was like, "I don't know why." I don't know why you're yelling at me. Oh, it was funny. We're just like, you have to knock now. We're not superstitious, but that is just something that both of us are like, knock on wood. So, yeah, funny. These prompts don't necessarily mean anything because I haven't looked over at them in a little while, and yet I have stuff to tell you, don't I? Because there's always a story. What are you guys working on? I know last time I asked this, I got some really good answers. Are you still working on the same paintings? Or have you progressed and moved on to something else? Are you working on Christmas gifts? Are you working on learning French? Why you would do that while you're listening to a video, I don't know, but hey, to each their own. Reminds me of something. Everything reminds me of something. But this story is funny. And I don't know if it's based on something that actually happened or if it's more of like an old wives' tale. But it's still... Sorry, I'm looking for a refill here. I need some fours. Seinfeld 4. What was I going to say? Oh man, it reminded me of something. Everything reminds me of something. I don't need anything to remind me of anything because I know everything and I always have a story. I don't know everything. I mean, I do, but let's not, What was I going to say? Oh, it's gone. It may not come back. It may not. Wow. That just blew clear out of my head. But I think I told you that when I gave birth, I totally gave birth to my memory as well. So now we've just all been the victim of that. What are you working on? What are you doing? Are you learning French? Like, I'm trying to remember. Why would you be learning French while you're listening to a video? Yeah, we've been here before. We don't need to repeat it all. I really should be working on that other little charm business of mine, but I don't want to. I just want to sit and diamond paint. It's just so mesmerizing, don't you find? Like these little squares, like kind of, they put you in a little trance, and you're like, must complete squares. Matchy, matchy, yes, yes. Matchy 3. Oof. Yes. Thank you. Oh. E. It's just a quiet moment of reflection. We should all do that sometimes. Just take a moment for yourself. Even if people are, sitting there waiting for you to say something else, that's okay. You just take a moment. Breathe it in. Let it out. This has been Meditation Tips with Allison. Please come back every Friday and Saturday at 12 o'clock noon and Eastern Central, 13 hours less in Central Time. I don't know. Are you guys watching any good shows? I need a new show. I just finished binging ER. I think I told you guys that, and I have not come up with anything else that I just want to sit and binge since that. But I want a new show. What's on deck for your weekend? I mean, I know by the time you see this, your weekend is over. So, never mind that. Next tag? Yeah, next tag. Hang on, I just want to, before I lose where that goes. Okay. How you got a pet. So, when I was, 10, I really wanted fish. So my parents got me a little fish bowl and some goldfish, and I would take that little fish bowl up and down the hallway to the bathroom, and I would clean out that fish bowl because my fishies were, so important to me, and I had to have clean water all of the time. And I had just gotten it, so of course, my upkeep would wane. But right now, I was so excited about my fish. And my dad's dad was over for dinner, and I think there was someone else there, but I don't recall who. Yeah, must have been my grandma. Yeah, my bubby and my Zadie, and we had dinner and I was done, so I went upstairs, and it was time to clean my fish tank, of course. So I took it down the hall and I went into the bathroom, and it slipped out of my hands, and the goldfish bowl shattered, and there were goldfish and little rocks and water and glass everywhere. And I started to scream. And I was like, oh my God, I killed them all. Oh no. I'm not responsible enough for fish. Oh no. And my dad and my Zadie came running up the stairs, and they were catching fish in their hand and like throwing them into like the toothbrush drinking glass and filling that with some water and trying to save these little fish. And there was just, it was mayhem, absolute mayhem. And I was just screaming the whole time, I'm not responsible enough. These fish deserve a better mother than me. So my parents took pity on me and I had saved up. That was my goldfish bowl. I forgot that part. I thought maybe my parents had purchased it, but no, I had saved up my little shekels, and I had purchased my own goldfish bowl with my goldfish. And I destroyed it. I had two fish left out of like 5, I think, and I was just so sad. And then the next day, my daddy comes home with like a tank with a filter and everything, and he said, see, we don't want you walking around with it anymore. It's not a good idea. But this way, you don't have to like clean it so often, so it'll be safer for everybody. And I was like, thank you, Daddy. So I had a new tank and everything, and it was so fun. It was great. I would feed my little fishies. Do you know that fish food smells real bad? Ugh. Oh, it smells terrible. Beside the point. But I would fill the tank up maybe a bit high. I suppose that might have been the problem. And so one night I walked into my room, and I was walking to the desk to turn on the light, and I stepped on something gushy, and I had stepped on a goldfish, and I started to scream bloody murder. I was so freaked out by it, and my parents came running, and they're like, what happened? Is there someone in the house? Like, they thought like someone had attacked me. And I said, I stepped on a goldfish. It jumped out, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh my God, that's it? You are never allowed to scream that way again. I scared the bejesus out of them. They said, yeah, that's gross, but no, never ever do that again. I was like, I'm sorry. 3 nights later, I walk into my room, I step on a goldfish, and I walk down the hall into my parents' bedroom and I say, I am being very calm right now, but I have just stepped on another fish. What the H is going on here? So yeah, I had to put less water in the fish tank. And sometimes the fish would kind of disappear, but I wouldn't know where they were. I'd be like, that's odd, I'm missing a fish. And like several months later, I'd be like pulling a sweater out and like this tiny little fish skeleton would fall out of it. Yeah, lovely times. So fun. So yeah, there's a word to the wise. If you do get a fish tank for your children, make sure they don't wash it themselves, A, and B, don't fill it too high because fish commit suicide and just jump right out of it. Yeah, I had never heard of such a thing. Neither then nor since, but my fish committed suicide. Might have been me they were trying to get away from. I'd like to think that's not so. It's possible. So there's the time I got a pet. But you know what else my dad did that day? When he came home with the fish, he also came home with a pair of doves. And so we had Tony and Cleo. And my sister named them after Anthony and Cleopatra. I had no choice in the names. I was completely left out of the decision making. But it was fine. Tony and Cleo. And the reason my dad fell in love with them is because there was eggs in the little basket, like in their nest, and she was sitting on the eggs and he was cooing to her, and my dad just thought this was so sweet, and look, they're gonna make a baby. They did not make a baby. A lot of times when birds lay eggs, they just eat them. Yeah, they just eat them. So they ate that egg, then they ate the next and the next and the next, and for years and years they'd lay eggs and then the eggs would be destroyed. So in the summer, one summer we decided, and oh my god, doves make a lot of noise. It's like I used to be able to do this. I can't do it anymore. Sorry. I used to be able to do it. But they make this cooing sound. And it's nice at first, but it gets real old real fast. It starts real early in the morning. So when it would be summertime, we would put the birds outside in the back deck, and they were protected. The cats couldn't get to them or anything like that. It was like a screened-in porch. And we would just hang them up high, and then in the fall, and feed them and give them water and whatever, but in the fall we would take down the cage and bring them in. And one fall we brought them in and there was a baby, a little baby bird on the bottom of the cage. And we were like, oh my god, they did it, they had a baby. And we named the baby Jimmy, after James Dean, of course, because we all know that James Dean was a rebel without a cause, and apparently so was this bird. And then the baby and the daddy beat up on the mom and pecked her little head out, her feathers out. So we had to, and they had never had problems before. We don't know what the dynamic was, and I don't think I ever looked into it too much either, to be honest with you. But we just knew that together was not a good thing for the baby. But we didn't want to split up the couple because they had been together for so many years and they mate for life. So we figured the best thing to do is to put Jimmy in a separate cage, like right next to them, but in a separate cage. He didn't need them to like give him food or anything anymore. He was self-sustaining at that point. But then he did die. I think he couldn't be, I don't know, he died. And so then we had Tony and Cleo back again. And one day we look over, they were back up in the veranda for another summer. And we look over and poor Cleo is not looking so good. She's kind of sitting there with her head in the water. Figured she had a heart attack or something and just like went face first into her bowl. My Bobby had a theory that actually she was murdered, that Tony sat on her head till she drowned. I don't know how true either of those stories are, but I'd like to think that we didn't have a murderous dove on our hands. And then I remember when my dad got them, I was 8, because I asked how long do doves live? And he said, oh, about 10 years. And I remember very clearly thinking, okay, so the day I turn 18, I'm going to wake up and the birds will be dead. Children's minds, right? But by the time I turned 18, Cleo was gone, Jimmy was gone, but Tony was hanging on tight. We had Tony. He lived with my sister, he lived with me, he lived with my parents again, he went back and forth. Tony was so cute. He loved popcorn and bagels so much. Like my dad loves popcorn, and so he'd have some. And Tony, if Tony was nearby, he in his cage, he'd go crazy. He'd go nuts until my dad would give him some popcorn. And bagels, same thing. He'd be like, give me some bagel, give me some popcorn, please, 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 please. So we would share with him. He was like a little dog. And he eventually he did, I think I was I was 29. I hadn't yet turned 30. I was 29 when he died. And so we had him for like 21 years. Yeah, 21-year-old Burgard. And who knows how old he was when we bought him. Yeah, poor Tony. Rest in peace. Oh my God, but he was the cutest little bird. And we used to let them out of their cage, and my mom hated it because there'd be bird crap and feathers everywhere. But we would do it whenever they were out of town. And just let them like live out of the cage. Of course, my dog wasn't thrilled by it because we didn't let him eat them. He would try, but we wouldn't let him. And we lost the birds. My parents were coming home. We knew we had to put them back in the cage. We could not find the birds. My parents came home. We couldn't find the birds. We finally found Tony up on my sister's shelf of stuffed animals. She had like this big shelf going across her bedroom of all her stuffed animals, and we found Tony sitting up there like a week later. He had just blended his way in. And poor Cleo, she was stuck between the wall and the bed, like just stuck down there, sitting there for days, waiting for someone to find her. And we did find her, and that's not why she died. It was many, many years after that she passed. And so we finally found all the birds and put them back in their cage. I don't remember Jimmy being lost. So I don't know if he was around or come and gone or what. Yeah, but yeah. And one time my friend Jan was over, and we were like, oh, let's let the bird out. And she's like, no, I don't really love birds. It's okay. And we're like, oh, they're not very good flyers. Like, don't worry, they're not going to fly very much. Like, they can kind of fly, but they can't land. Like, they really did not know how to land. They would just kind of face bomb into the ground. And so they don't really love flying. They just walk around. It'll be cute. Of course, the bird flew right into her head and was like stuck in her hair because she had like this really teased up hair in the 80s. And she was screaming, get the bird out of my head. I was like, oh my God, he really never does this. But of course, if it was going to happen to someone, it would be someone who really did not want a bird in their head. Yeah, I mean, her hair was just really big. It was it was not his fault. He just crashed into her head. Oh, Tony. And then we also had a dog. I grew up with a long-haired Dachshund named Duffy. I think I mentioned him in another one about Do You Want Pets? But yeah, I had a Duffy growing up, and he was the sweetest little dog. Oh, he was so sweet. And we would dress him up, and he didn't mind. He would just sit there and let us dress him up, and he just loved us so much, and we loved him right back. Mom didn't love him so much because she was the one stuck taking care of him, but we sure did. That's why I don't want to be that mom, stuck taking care of the dog. See where I'm coming from? Yep. Let's see what another question is. What mysteries in my mind it might pull up. Ooh, here's one. A time you lied to your parents. So, this one's a good one. I had a little boyfriend who I met in Toronto. And Toronto and Montreal are about 6 hours from each other. And I met him in Toronto because I had a friend from Fat Camp that I'd made when I went to Weight Watchers summer camp in Ontario. Found that camp in the back of a 17 magazine along with that gymnastics camp. You never know what you're going to find. So I went and I had such a great time because I wasn't that big. So at that camp, I was really thin, right? In comparison, I was like the skinny girl for once in my life. And like, so, you know, like the pretty skinny girl. I had such a great summer. And I made lots of good friends and we kept in touch. And then that Christmas, I went down to visit my friend Tracy in Thornhill, just outside of Toronto. And I met her friend Alex. And we hit it off and we had a really good time. And we started like kind of dating, but it was like a one weekend this winter. And then I went back home and I missed Tracy and her group of friends and that boy so much. And I would write to them every day. There was no email. There was no couldn't use long distance. It actually cost something. And so the way to keep in touch was good old snail mail. And I missed them so much. And I would write to each of them every day. And I just wanted to see them again. And I wanted to see my little boyfriend again. I mean, it was so innocent though. Like I hadn't even really kissed a boy yet. Yeah, it was pretty innocent. But not that innocent that I couldn't save up my money and then go there for the weekend while my parents were also out of town and not tell them. Yeah. My parents went away and so did I, and I did not tell them that I went away. And I almost missed the train coming back and I was freaking out, but I did finally make that train and got home and no one was the wiser. Until one of those letters that I was always writing had been left out on the counter and my mom saw it and read it. And in that letter it said, I can't believe my parents never found out about that time I went down to Toronto when they were out of town. Because I'm so smart that way. Yeah, needless to say, I never left town again without telling my parents where I was going. I still don't. To this day, Mom, I'm going away for the weekend. Okay, where are you going? Yeah, no. That was completely, bad idea. Bad idea. Yeah. And I was babysitting for this family down the street who was like the weirdest family. There was like 8 kids. Oldest was 10. The youngest were infant twins. And they were kind of like street urchin-y kids. Like we'd often find them just pulling up their skirt and peeing in the middle of the road. And their house was, I remember, sticky. I always kept my shoes on. It was a very sticky house. And dirty. And the laundry was insane. The piles and piles of laundry. And they had this, there's another one. They had this like panic button because the dad who left them had worked for like an alarm company. And they had this panic button installed that it was never uninstalled after he left. These drills are dirty. Do you see that? The dirt on them? They're like filthy. How gross. So I'm picking out the ones that are good. Doing my best anyways. Have you ever had such filthy drills? La la la. So one day I'm babysitting. I babysat for them all the time. They were just so fun to babysit for because no one gave a crap, you know? It wasn't a very strict house. My friends would come over, my boyfriends would come over. Yeah, it was a pretty lax atmosphere. And they paid me fine, and so I would babysit all the time. And it was just down the road, like 3 houses down from my parents' house. And the doorbell rang, and I went to get the door, and there were 2 cops at the door, guns drawn. Guns drawn. And I just put my hands up and said, "I'm the babysitter." And they said, "Can you prove that?" And they said, "We've gotten we're here because there was an emergency signal pressed like 25 times." And I was like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." And they said, "What's your name?" I said, "Allison." They said, "Can you prove that?" I said, "Yeah, my parents live right over there." And so it all got figured out, but the kids had found the panic button in the closet and had pressed it and 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 pressed it. And so the cops came flying down the street to save the day. Yeah. So that's the house I was in. And she knew I had this boyfriend in Toronto. That was years after this first incident. The police one was many years later. No, that was around the same time. Anyways, doesn't matter. Time frame in this particular matter doesn't matter. But around the time that I had that boyfriend in Toronto, like I said, expensive long distance, she had said, because she was so cool, that if I wanted to, I could just work for long distance. Like I could call my friends and then she wouldn't give me cash. She'd just pay the phone bill. And that sounded like a great idea. Until she called my mom one day and said, "I'm sorry, but I don't think Allison can ever babysit off a $700 phone bill." Yeah. So you're kind of getting the picture of why they were surprised I was valedictorian, aren't you? Yeah. So there was that. Yeah, I haven't thought about that family in a long time. There was also, that family, one night we were across the street at another neighbor's house, and we saw people in their backyard coming around the side of the house with like these big things covered up with like blankets and tarps, and they were being robbed. Like, it was obvious they were being robbed. So we called the police. And the police come, and then the neighbor runs out of his house and says, "Those son of a bitches," and starts yelling at the car that had just driven away. And we're like, don't worry, we just called the police." He's like, "You called the police? They stole my marijuana plants." Yeah, that was that family. So, I mean, this was like the 70s, the 80s, It was a different time, different place. Wow, I hadn't thought about them for a very long time. Oh, that house was so gross, though. Blech. Housekeeper, she was not. I mean, not that I'm the best housekeeper, but that was a little something. It was something special. I take care of my studio very well. My husband's like, "Yeah, but what about the house?" "Don't worry, everything's fine." That's what I say to everybody. "Don't worry, it's okay." Everyone's like, "No, well, we're all actually worried." No, it's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Because it always is. You know that? Everything always just works out. It's okay. Don't panic. It's gonna be okay. Meanwhile, I'm married to the panic king. He, like I said, he's in Montreal for the weekend for his class reunion. And we have, we have a joint cell phone bill, of course, and we have a certain amount of data that we can use every month. And we don't usually come close to we come close, but we don't go over the data. And it rolls over. So, I mean, it should be okay, right? And I get a message on my phone from Verizon saying you've only got 10% of your data left for the month and you've still got 10 days to go. And when I got the message, we were just pulling up to the sandwich place that we went to for dinner tonight. And so I saw it and I was like, okay, no problem. I'm not going to use data right now, and I'll figure it out when I get home. As soon as I got that message, my husband calls and is like, oh my God, we don't have any data left. What's been going on? But so like there, like right there, that's the difference between us. Like immediate knee-jerk panic from him, and oh, I'll figure it out later from me. And I was just like, we're about to order. Can I call you back? He's like, yeah. And then by the time I spoke to him again, he had called Verizon, changed our plan temporarily to get more data for the month, and everything was okay. See? Everything's gonna be okay. No need to panic. But no, panic first we must. Panic first we must. I'm not a panicker. Ain't in my blood. Mm-mm. Where are we at? We're just over an hour. Let's see if there's anything left here. A time you embarrass yourself playing sports. I just didn't play sports. Not so much. The only thing I ever liked was gymnastics, and I was terrible at it. So yeah, I'm sure I embarrassed myself quite a bit because I was terrible at it. Really bad at it. Oh, I wanted to be good, but I was very bad, very, very bad. No skills. I had a mean round off. That was it. The catastrophe of a party. I had like a really sad party once. I don't know if it was a catastrophe, but it was kind of depressing. I mean, I was fine, but it was kind of depressing. My 30th birthday, I invited like a ton of people, and like 10 people showed up. So yeah, that was a little bit of a catastrophe, but I didn't care. Like, I was having a good time. The people who did show up were all my closest friends. The people who didn't show up were like the peripherals that I was just gonna like have a big party. So it was okay, I guess. But yeah, that was kind of a catastrophe. I had just met Jared, and he was like, wow, your friends don't show up, do they? And I was like, not really. It was also the problem, I mean, here come my excuses for it, but I had moved into the city. My parents live and I had always lived in the suburbs in the West Island. And most of my friends were living in the West Island and didn't have cars to drive into the city, and to take the bus is kind of ridiculous. So, you know, most of my friends couldn't even physically get there, which was, you know, I kind of knew going in, but I thought maybe. So yeah, that sucked. If I have another party, will you come? Will you come to my party? I know you will, because you guys are so nice and so nice to me. And we would all have a very good time together. We would have like a diamond painting party, and there would be like diamond painting set up everywhere, and you could just sit down and like pick up a drill pin and a couple of diamonds and just sit and talk with people. You wouldn't even have to bring your own painting and have them all over the place, and we would just sit and paint and gab. And if you didn't like that painting or those people, that's okay, because there's another table just a foot away. Different painting and different people. I would even have rounds if that's what people wanted. That's okay. For the party, you can take it home after as a little favor. Oh, everyone would get to leave with the painting that they wanted. I mean, we would have a good time. Definitely some wine involved. Maybe some karaoke. I mean, if we were going to get crazy. We would definitely have the goodie bags, because it's not a party without a goodie bag. It still is not a party without a goodie bag. I'm sorry. Just no. Yeah, I mean, don't you think that would be so fun? So yeah, you are all invited to my next birthday party. I guess it'll be when I turn 50. Will be the next big one. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. You know, we can arrange for, like, you guys can do carpooling. So like everybody from Florida could come together, and everyone from, I don't know, Georgia could come together. If you're coming in from Australia, well, that would just be like, you know, an excuse to tour the country while you're here. You could go see the dollar stores that we have. I mean, there's lots of stuff to do here. I live near the beach. It's quite lovely. It's a very nice beach. It's actually the beach that people would actually come to vacation at. People vacation at my beach. That's right. It's beautiful. Wilmington, North Carolina. Look it up. It's got a nice beach. And some shark attacks, but we're not going to talk about that. I'm dying down here, guys. So, let me just think of something here. Is there anything else I wanted to tell you? I don't think so. So, until next time, don't forget to back up your hard drive.